Well, hello. How are you? Come on in. Let's have a little conversation. Because what we're going to talk about today. Oh, and by the way, this is an experiment, so do not type. So, what I want to do is talk a little bit about, well, first off, the 5 stages of grief. And there's certain things that I want to tell you that you're not ready for it yet. Because many of y'all can't handle the truth. And it's going to really kind of piss some of you people off. But it's part of the stages of grief you have to go through. But you're not ready for that right now. So, what I'm going to do is talk about something that you are ready for and that you can do today. And this message is for your legislatures. And I'm specifically recording it so you could play to your legislatures. So let's just get into how you have been conned and how these people that are supposed to know the law and know the Constitution are willfully violating their oath by not upholding the Constitution. And this is very simple. And in fact, it was even brought before a legislative body that shot it down in flames. And ironically, it was some Republicans that brought it forth, but all your Democrats, your progressives that are supposed to be for standing up for the little people shows just what hypocrites these people really are. So let's get into it because this is a little bit in depth, but it's very simple to understand, especially once I read it to you. And this is coming out of a 2018 legislative body from the state of New Hampshire. Now, good on the people in New Hampshire that actually brought this bill forward. Too bad the people in New Hampshire that were the people of the state didn't even know this was going on. And then it got voted down because had they known this, they would have been real mad at the legislatures of their state. And it's what I consider a tiny little state as compared to Texas. But it certainly would have shocked the nation. And why is that? Because had they passed this, they, any state, we could have all used this as reciprocity. And I'll have to go into that a little bit later. But your elected officials and these attorneys all know what I'm talking about. Now then, what this is a 2018 legislative session. And I think it even went before the 2019 because they like re-brought it up and it still got shot down. But how many people in New Hampshire even knew that this bill was being presented and got voted down? Well, I think if y'all know anybody in New Hampshire, you certainly want to get a hold of these people because I'm going to put the link in the description. And don't ask me where it is. If you can't look in the description, there's no help for you either. And you know what I'm saying about these emojis and hashtags. So you better quit using them because I'm the emoji hunter now. And they will get removed immediately. I won't even read the comment. Now, the 2018 legislative session, this was House Bill 1778, FNA Local, an act relative to registration of commercial motor vehicles and operators' driver's license. Now, we've heard there were videos going around 5 years ago about the right to travel. And many people were wanting to express their rights, constitutional rights. And how many people were told driving is a privilege and not a right? Well, let's just see what this bill says and you make up your own mind. And like I say, the link is in the description. Analysis. Now, here's the analysis. This bill reinstates the right to travel and requirements the Department of Safety to provide at no cost to all non-commercial automobiles and non-commercial conveyance owners a decal and identification card that states the holder is exempt from registering his or her private conveyance under the Uniform Commercial Code exemptions for consumer goods and household goods. What does that mean? You have the right to travel and non-commercial they're automobiles. A vehicle is actually a legal term, and it's going to go in here and explain that for you and break it all down. And just like I said here in the state of Texas, how they really tricked everybody, even on the title of the law book, it says Texas Criminal and Motor Vehicle Code Book. You know what they did? They eliminated one word out of it. It should say the Texas Criminal and Commercial Motor Vehicle Code Book. Because when you're going to the store in your car to go get a loaf of bread, you're not in commerce. You're not a paid driver. They don't pay you to go to the store. You just travel to the store. All right. Now then, let's go on down here a little bit. The state of New Hampshire, in the year of our Lord 2018, an act relative to registration of commercial motor vehicles and operators' driver's license. Be it enacted by the Senate and House Representatives in general court convened. 1. Statement of purpose. The general court finds that the authority of the Department of Safety is limited to only the commercial uses of the public ways, and that the corporate state employees have, by their silence, failed to fully inform the sovereign people of this state that an automobile has been confirmed by Chief Justice Grimes in 108 New Hampshire 386 2B, private property, defined by the current RSA 382 as household goods and consumer goods, not for commercial use or for profit or gain. Further, the courts have found that the corporate public servants who ignore their accountability as mandated in Article 8, New Hampshire Bill of Rights, have by their silence and failure to inform the sovereign people of the consequences arising from their corporate offer to contract is deemed silent deception and inducement by fraud. Inducement by fraud. This is fraud upon the courts. Whenever you're getting a ticket, they're putting these tickets together and violating all the rights along the way. They have induced fraud upon the court. They can be sued at any time, no matter. There is no statute of limitations of fraud. Okay. Number 2, right to travel RSA 261:40 is repealed and reenacted to read as follows. 261:40, right to travel. 1. For the purpose of this action, A. Automobile and motorcycle means any self-propelled conveyance used for non-commercial travel upon the public ways. B. Motor vehicle means any self-propelled conveyance designed and used upon the public ways for profit or gain in business or commerce. C. Household goods or consumer goods has the same meaning as the Uniform Commercial Code found in RSA 382A:9-102 and shall include an automobile. Automobiles and all non-commercial conveyance shall be exempt from the license and registration required of commercial motor vehicles. Do you have to have a license to operate your toaster? No. Isn't that considered household goods? You don't need a license to operate your vacuum cleaner, do you? It's a motorized conveyance. That's household goods. Okay, D. Operator or driver means one who controls the movement of conveyance upon the public way for commercial or business purposes. E. Traveler means one who controls the automobile or other non-commercial conveyance. F. Common law means the sole remedy for any controversy arising from or by the public use of household goods or consumer goods, such as an automobile or non-commercial conveyance. So you can see, here's the definitions between an automobile, which is non-commercial, a motor vehicle, which is commercial, the definition of household goods, what an operator is, one who is traveling. An operator is one who is paid to transport goods or services, and traveler is one who is not paid to move about upon the highways or any other common streets or thoroughfares. Number 2, the Department of Safety shall provide, at no cost, every non-commercial automobile owner or owner of an other non-commercial conveyance with the appropriate decal imprinted with the words RSA 382-A:9-109 exempt. The Division of Motor Vehicles shall also issue a non-commercial traveler a photo identification card at no cost with the words RSA 382-A:109 exempt printed on such identification card. This identification card is not a contract or license or instrument that would require compelled performance by the holder and shall provide every law enforcement agency with notice of the holder's exemption from the statutes that are required for the commercial use of the public way for profit or gain. What did that just say? That means that the Department of Motor Vehicles were to give you a tag on your car that says exempt and a photo identification card that says exempt, both free at no cost for you, stating that you are not engaged in commerce and that you're free to exercise your rights upon the highway at no cost. You are not in a contract with the government. Number 3, the automobile and all non-commercial conveyance are exempt from registration and taxation, and the owner of such automobile or non-commercial conveyance are exempt from the requirements of a license that is necessary for commercial use of the public ways. That means only commercial drivers, like truck drivers, taxi drivers, limo drivers, bus drivers, these are all people that are paid to transport goods or services or people. Period. This identification card, wait, let's see, I was on the wrong one. Uh, Automobiles for public, for the use of public ways. The owner of the automobile shall be considered to be exercising the common, unalienable right to travel on the public right of way in the ordinary and lawful pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's just what I was saying. You have the right to travel without cost for your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Number 3, vanity plate fees amended 1 reads as follows. Vanity plates, I love that. 1. The proceeds from the vanity plate service fee collected in accordance with RSA 261:89 plus the fee for the renewal of the use of such plates after any refunding authority authorized by law and cost of such plates or designation of effective periods thereof and issuance of same have been approved and deducted shall be expended for course materials, licensing of schools, and certification of instructors in connection with safe motor vehicle driving conducted in or under the supervision of secondary schools. Such balance shall be kept in a separate fund. The Commissioner of Safety shall adopt pursuant RSA 541-A and publish rules governing the courses of instruction and training. Number 4, original and youth operators commercial license cross-reference removal RSA 263:14 to read as follows. A. The director is authorized to revoke or suspend any original commercial license held by a person under 20 years of age after a hearing upon showing by its records or other sufficient evidence that a driver has committed an offense, excluding the defense of RSA 261:59 and RSA 266:5 following the issuance of an original commercial license for which the original commercial license holder has been convicted. In other words, if you're a commercial driver under the age of 20, this goes to how that they can remove that license for you. Number 5, driver's license rules amended RSA 21-P:14 to read as follows. Number 4, the Commissioner of Safety shall adopt the rules under RSA 541-A relative to licensing commercial drivers. Okay, they've done some striking here, strike here, restrict commercial license as authorized, conditions and requirements of driver's license, interstate. This is kind of going into a little bit of into the weeds on certain things. So if you're interested in reading some of that part, pull it up and you can read it yourself, because I just wanted to get into terms. And then there's a couple of parts down here that I wanted to kind of really touch on. Commercial license expiration, that doesn't apply to us. We're not a commercial driver. If you're a commercial driver, you have to read all this stuff. Okay. let's see. So that was basically the meat of it right there, what I've already read, because the rest is really going to commercial license and how they're going to apply the law for commercial license. So if you're not a commercial driver, most of this doesn't even apply to you. In fact, the only thing that you have to be aware of is that it doesn't cost you a dime to drive on the highways. Well, actually, drive is a legal term too, to travel. And this is how they trick everybody, because they're going to say, oh, you're a driver. Well, a driver is a paid person, and they've embedded it into your lexicon so that it's just reflux to say, oh, yeah, I was driving in my vehicle. Really? Were you paid? Is that vehicle a commercial motor vehicle, or is it a car, truck, or motorcycle? And these are the ways that they've tricked everybody all along the way. And the attorneys and the judges should know this. In fact, they're deemed to know the law. So they're supposed to know this. And that's how they trick you. Were you driving on this day uh, to get this speeding citation? Well, yeah, I was going to work. So you say you were driving to work. Well, yeah. Well, right there, they just trapped you because they labeled you as a driver. You have to immediately object and say, no, I wasn't driving to work. I was traveling, because you're not paid to travel to work, are you? Are you hauling a load of 2x4s for somebody? Are they paying you to do that? If they're paying you, you're a driver. If they're not, you're a traveler. And this whole bill, had it been put in place, would have set the people of New Hampshire free. And they knew this. And they willfully kept it from y'all. So if you know people in New Hampshire, you need to go and shake them, wake them up, and say, hey, guess what? Did you know this was going on right underneath our noses? Did you know that we were being willfully lied to by these people? Because they know what the terms are. It's written here in plain black and white English. So this is what you need to do. You can print one of these things off and mail it to your congressman and your representative, and send one to your local mayor and your local city officials. Send it to your city council. Send as many of it as you want to anybody that's a public official, and let them know that you know that they are willfully denying you your constitutional rights. As Chief Justice Grimes has pointed out repeatedly, there is so much Supreme Court law on the right to travel, it would flat scare you. I've got case law on case law on case law. Probably, in fact, I have a document that I'd created that whenever a cop pulled me over, I asked them to initial this document, stating that they had read it knowingly and willfully violating my constitutional right to travel. It was called a right to travel document. Now, how many of you think would actually put their little John Henry on that? Not one. Because then that would be an admission that they had been noticed. And the last thing they want to do is admit that they have been noticed of your rights, because then you can take and use that. And just like I say, here in Texas, and it's just probably like this in every state, the wording may be a hair different, but it ain't going to be that much different. What is it? Speed signs. And I love this one. I cite it all the time. And it's in Texas, it's 201.904 speed signs, which states, well, heck, I tell you what, I'll get it and read it verbatim to you. That's what happens when you actually have the law book right here, and you can pull it up and read it for yourself. It's a thick book too, cost $100. I suggest everybody get theirs for their state, and you can start reading and finding out just how they're misapplying the law to you. Okay, 201.904 speed signs. The department shall erect and maintain on the highways and roads of this state appropriate signs that show the maximum lawful speed for commercial motor vehicles, truck tractors, truck trailers, truck semi-trailers, and motor vehicles engaged in business of transporting passengers for compensation or hire, aka buses. Now, when a cop pulls you over here in Texas, why don't you ask him, Mr. Officer, can you please describe the year, make, model, and the color of the bus or semi that I was driving that I was traveling in? See, they get that driving on you. They'll get you to admit it because it's so deeply embedded in just our normal talk. So, can you please describe the year, make, model, and the color of the bus or semi that I was traveling in to violate that stick on the side of the road with them numbers spray painted on it? They can't answer. And there you go. It's real simple. It's so simple and in your face. And the wording is just so creatively manipulated. It's called sharp practices. And this is how they get you. And you don't even know it because you're unaware. And it's just that little bit of information. You need to take this video and share it with everybody that's 15 and older. Go get whoever you know that's 15 and over and tell them to listen to this. I know I've told my son this. He knows it. A lot of people know it. How are we going to get the system to change? Is we're going to have to force these public officials. And then when they don't do it, then we start filing criminally on them, filing criminal charges on them. Because I was just having a little conversation with Randy. Yeah, we can file lawsuits on them all day long. But the best thing to do is to file criminal charges and start having their bonds removed. Because attorneys, I know, I worked for one. Even when he was 50, he was still paying on his student loan. Now, how would you like it where they can't be, they're unable to practice law because their bonds have to be removed and they have to go flip burgers to pay off their student loan? Yeah, trust me, they know it. And if they want to back off and do the right thing, that's what they need to do. And if they want to police for profit, well, I tell you, it's going to cost them way more than they ever imagined. Because let me tell you, our powers have just begun.
Even in death, my powers continue.
Dave Frosty, Donald Trump is a fucking genius.